But basically, recently I was thinking about this show which I've been watching for a long time now. It's called Mehmed Sultan. It's about Mohammed Fatih. If you don't know who that is, it's the guy who conquered Constantinople. Basically, there was this big prophecy by the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam about there being this general who would conquer Constantinople and how great his army would be and how great he would be, the general who's conquering it. And this is the guy who actually did it, right? And I reached the point in the show, I think it's the last episode that came out, where he actually conquers it. Now, it's obviously very dramatic. There's like this whole scene of the guy who plants the flag, getting shot by like 76 arrows. And apparently, in this version, you have to know that this is like a Turkish nationalistic sort of propaganda sort of thing. So, in the real story, the emperor is never seen again. He just disappears. In this like thing, Mehmed has a duel with the emperor and he defeats him pretty easily. And then he goes and he takes a sword and he puts it in the guy's throne, and it's a whole thing. But I remember now, like as I was thinking about what had happened, because this guy is like 19 and he's conquering cities, and I'm 22, and I can't really tell you that I'm doing anything at the moment except for this video, right? And basically, what I was thinking about is in one of the scenes way back, and this is apparently something that actually happened. Mehmed, he gathers all of his advisors, his viziers, right? And he tells them, right, they're standing next to a carpet and there's an apple in the middle of the carpet. And Mehmed, he tells them, yo, my mighty viziers, the most intelligent people in the state, blah 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 blah. How do you get this apple? And they're like, I don't really have time for this, blah 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 blah. And he's like 12 this time because he becomes a sultan at 12, then he gets overthrown by his grand vizier, and his dad comes back in, and then when his dad dies, he becomes sultan again. It's a whole thing with this guy, right? And they think he's playing some sort of childish game with them, he's like drunk on power and all of this stuff, and he tells them, how do you get the thing, right? And they say, we don't know, blah 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 blah. Eventually, Mehmed, he takes the carpet and he rolls it up just from all sides, and eventually he just gets the cup. He gets the thing. So if the lesson is, if you want to, take Constantinople, you have to, Constantinople being the red apple, you have to roll around the surrounding areas first, which is technically what he did. And in the end, when they conquered it, they had surrounded it from three sides. So very on point for the guy. Now, I always thought that like that's a really good way to approach problem solving. Instead of going for this big problem, you just take little steps in the direction and stuff like that towards the goal that you want to go. But then I was thinking, because not my problems in life don't actually result from a lack of willingness to be able to go after my goals and stuff like that, or being lazy, or it's not like I do not want to be where I want to go to, and I don't want to take the actions that I needed to go there. It's just I am hindered by myself, hindered by other people, sometimes hindered by situations, etc. And I know I'm making excuses, but these are real problems that a lot of people have trouble solving. And if you're a person who has trouble solving, and generally at my age, I'm sure people are having problems solving this sort of thing. In terms of getting towards goals, I usually think, hey, I'm gonna chip at this slowly. But in terms of having a big problem, I usually don't think, hey, I'm gonna get rid of this problem slowly. What I usually think is, I'm going to make a huge attack against this problem, and then hopefully it goes away, right? And if it doesn't, well, I have to wait for the motivation to be able to go at it again, or something like this one. But in reality, what I should be doing is following Mehmed's advice, but for the problem. So say you have a problem wasting time on social media, okay? Look at what is around that. So for me, what is around that is every time I open my phone, I'm naturally going to go into Instagram, YouTube, or something like this one. So I just blocked it. I don't have that problem anymore. I mean, I still have, sort of have the problem, but you see, because instead of going for the problem itself in terms of just, I'm never going to waste time on social media again. I went for a subsidiary problem, and it took me very close to the distance that I want to go to. Because now during the week, I don't spend any time on YouTube, or at least I won't spend much time wasting time on YouTube. I won't spend time on Instagram, I don't spend time on TikTok, all of this stuff I don't do anymore. And well, that hasn't had any benefit yet, monetarily or otherwise. It's a step in the direction that I actually want to go to, and I can easily increase that, and I have been increasing that, and it's been getting better and better and better. And I'm starting to apply this to my other problems as well. And this is something that you, person who's watching or not watching this video, should also do. Instead of going directly at the problem that you face, or not going against it and just being like, yo, I'll wait till I solve that later because it's just such a huge thing. Look at the things around that and see what you can do. So if you have a problem, for example, this is another problem that I have. I give people advice. I'm right. They don't seem to see I'm right. I know I'm right. I know that if they don't do what I'm like telling them to do, that this is probably going to lead into a bad situation. But I'm unable to convince them. Instead of being like, oh, this is what I was previously doing. Still am sort of doing, right? Is that let me just focus on what I can control. And then, eventually they're going to come to the conclusion that I came to in the first place. And we'll all be happy for it, right? Instead of doing that, now what I'm going to do is look at a subsidiary problem, right? Which is that, for example, maybe they might feel that you're chastising them, or they could generally feel that I'm always criticizing them, and so they're not really interested in listening to what I have to say. Look at your problem, the huge problem, and then just look at what's around that problem and solve those things that are around, and eventually you'll take constant